Most coaches think their problem is getting clients. It is not. The real problem is the game has already changed and most of you didn't notice. Right now, AI is quietly killing the coaching industry as we know it. And I don't mean coaching itself. I mean the way most coaches build their business. There is a mass extinction happening. All those 1K to 5K programs like courses, group coaching, information products, they are getting replaced by $30 per month AI tools. Why? Because information is no longer valuable. AI can give your clients answer faster, cheaper, and 24/7. So if your business is based on selling information, you are already in trouble. And here is the second problem. Most coaches are still building their businesses like it's 2015. Funnels, sales calls, setters, closers, chasing leads, convincing people. That model is not just outdated, it is completely unscalable. You need to make more calls to make more money, more people to manage, more pressure to solve, and eventually you burn out. So, what actually works now? If you want to get clients, especially if you are just starting, you need to build something AI cannot replace. Not information, not motivation, but real transformation. And even more important, you need to sell identity change. Who your client becomes, not just what they learn. Because the future of coaching is not cheap. The future belongs to ultra premium hybrid offers where you combine education, strategy, community, network, and even AI, but as a tool, not a replacement. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to get your first coaching clients, even if you are just starting from zero, but in a way that actually works in 2026 and beyond. No sales calls, no chasing, no outdated funnels. Before we go deeper, let me quickly introduce myself. My name is Dmitry. I have built a six-figure coaching business working just a few hours per week. And over the last few years, I have helped hundreds of coaches get clients, build systems, and scale to consistent 10K months and beyond. And what I am about to share with you is not theory, is not something I read in a book or saw in a YouTube video. This comes from real conversations, real clients, and real results. But I want to be very clear about one thing. This is not for everyone. If you are looking for a shortcut, if you want a magic trick, if you think you can build a coaching business without doing the work, this will not help you. And of course, results are not guaranteed. Results, as always, will depend on your effort and experience. And also, this is not the only way to get clients. You can build a business with sales calls. You can run funnels. You can hire setters and closers. But I have seen what happens behind the scenes. It becomes complicated, expensive, and very hard to scale without stress. What I'm going to show you is a different path, a simpler path, a path where clients come to you, where you don't need to convince people, and where your business actually grows with less effort over time. If that sounds interesting, let's go deeper. Let me change the screen. Okay, so let's start from the very beginning, what I call level 0. This is where most coaches are, especially if you're just starting. You have no audience, no clients, no content and converts, and usually a lot of overthinking. At level 0, you don't need a niche. You don't need a funnel. You don't need a website, and you definitely don't need a complex offer. What you need is simple. We start with conversations. Because your first coaching clients will not come from content, they will not come from ads, and they will not come from perfect strategy. They come from talking to real people. But here is where most beginners get stuck. They avoid conversation. Instead, they spend weeks trying to figure out their niche, building a program that nobody asked for, posting content with zero feedback, watching more videos instead of taking action, and all of that feels productive. But it creates zero clients. So at level 0, we focus on one thing only: turning conversations into calls and calls into clients. Here is how it actually works. Step 1, you start conversations, not by pitching, not by selling, not by sending weird copy-paste messages, but by being human. Let me put it here. Human. You reach out to people, you reply to stories, you engage in communities, you ask simple, real questions. Something like, hey, quick question. Are you struggling with kind of a problem? Or maybe I saw your post about this problem. How are you dealing with this right now? No pressure, no agenda, just a conversation. Step 2, you guide that conversation. You don't jump into selling. You ask questions, just questions. You understand client situation, you understand problem, what they are tried before, what's not working, and this is important. Most coaches try to impress, but at level 0, your goal is not to impress, your goal is to understand. Then the step number 3, you move to a call. But not a sales call, a help call. You simply say, hey, I think I can help you with this. Want to jump on a quick call? That's it. No pressure, no long pitch, no complicated funnel. And then, step 4, you run a simple session. You help them see where they are right now, where they want to go, what is stopping them, and you give them a small breakthrough, something real, something valuable. And here is what happens next. If you actually help them, the question becomes natural. Can you help me with this? That's when you offer your coaching. And this is the part most people don't realize. You don't need 1,000 followers to get clients. You don't need viral content. You need 3 conversations per day, 3 calls per week, 1 to 2 clients per week, and that's enough to start. So once again, you need 3 conversations per day, 3 calls per week, and 1 to 2 clients to start. Let's continue. Level 0 is not sexy. It is not scalable, and it's definitely not something people brag about on Instagram. But it's the fastest way to get your first clients, build confidence, understand real problems, and create momentum. Because once you have clients, everything changes. Now you have feedback, now you have results, now you have proof, and that's when you move to the next level. But if you skip this step, you stay stuck. No clients, no clarity, no growth. So if you are starting from 0, forget everything else. Focus on one thing: conversations, calls, clients. Let's get back to the screen. And by the way, if you are watching this and thinking, okay, but how do I actually start these conversations? What do I say? How do I move people to calls without being awkward? That's exactly why I created Business Dojo. Business Dojo is my free community where I help coaches get their first clients, practice real conversations, and build momentum step by step. Inside, you will find a full level 0 training where I break this down in details. Templates for starting conversations naturally, examples of messages that actually work, and live sessions where you can ask questions and get feedback. And the most important part, you are not doing this alone. You are surrounded by other coaches who are going through the same process, taking actions, getting wins, and sharing results. So, if you're serious about getting your first clients, join Business Dojo. It's free, and it might be the fastest way for you to go from zero to your first paid client. So check the link below and I will see you inside. Okay, let's change the screen back here. So once you have gone, let me put it like this. Yeah. Once you've gone through level 0, you've had conversations, you've done calls, you've signed your first clients. Now the question becomes, how do you scale this without burning out? Let's be honest. You can't stay in conversations forever. You can't rely on random DMs. You can't do more and more calls just to grow. At some point, you need a system. And this is where we move to the next level, what I call the coaching flywheel. The coaching flywheel is a simple system that turns your coaching business into something predictable, something that grows every month without chasing clients. Here is how it works. It is a loop and every part fits the next. So let's start with the step number 1. This is results. Everything starts here. Your clients get results, real results. Not just I feel better, but something measurable, something visible, because results are your strongest asset. Step 2, these are ads. Now, instead of creating random content, you use your results as your marketing. Case studies, wins, stories. This becomes your ads because nothing converts better than proof. Now we got to the step number 3, leads. Your ads attract the right people, not random followers, but people who see your results and think, I want that. Step 4, it is a community. Instead of sending them to a sales call, you invite them into your world, your community. This could be school, Discord, Telegram, that doesn't matter. What matters is this, they stay close to you. Next, we have a next step where they're becoming the consumers of your content. Inside your community, and outside, you create content, but not random content, strategic content, content that builds trust, content that shows your thinking, content that makes people understand you know what you're doing. Step 6, we get to the offer. Now, instead of chasing clients, you present your offer, not on the sales calls, but through content, through conversation, through a simple document. And people are already ready because they have seen your results, they have consumed your content, and they trust you. In a step 7, they are becoming your clients. They join without pressure, without convincing, without complicated sales processes. They get into your program, and here we are coming back to the step 1, to the results. Yep. Even better results with stronger proof, more powerful stories. And this is why it's called a flywheel, because once it starts moving, it becomes easier and easier to grow. I missed the prospects here. This is very different from a funnel. Funnels burn out. You constantly need new leads, new tricks, new hacks, but a flywheel builds momentum. And this is the key shift. At the level 0, you create clients manually, but with the coaching flywheel, you create a system that brings clients to you. And that's how you scale to 10K, 20K, even 50K per month, without sales calls, without chasing it, without burning out. So now let's talk about something very important, timing. Because one of the biggest mistakes coaches make is this. They either expect results too fast or they overcomplicate everything and move too slow. The coaching flywheel is structured into 6 levels, and each level builds on their previous one. You don't try to do everything at once. You focus, you execute, you move forward. Here is how the timeline usually looks. Level 1 and level 2, this is your foundation. This is where you clarify your direction, build a simple program, create an offer that people actually want, and this part normally takes about 4 weeks. Then level 3 to level 6. This is where things start moving fast. This is where you set up your content, build your community, start generating leads, present your offer, and create your first consistent flow of clients. And this part usually takes around 2 more weeks. So in about 6 weeks total, you already have a working system, a clear offer, and the clients coming in. But here is the important part. To reach your first 10K per month consistently, it usually takes around 90 days. Why so long? Because the flywheel needs time to build momentum. You need results, content, proof, conversations, clients, and each cycle makes the next one stronger. This is not overnight success, but it's also not years of struggle. It is a focused, structured process where every week you know exactly what to do. So instead of guessing, instead of jumping from strategy to strategy, you follow a clear path. And if you commit to it, in 90 days, your business can look completely different. Now, here is where things get unfair, because everything I just showed you, you don't have to figure it out alone. To make this process faster and easier, I built 9 AI tools that plug directly into each level of the coaching flywheel. So instead of guessing, you get guided execution. Let me show you how this actually works. At the beginning, you use AI Niche Coach to define your niche, your audience, and your direction without overthinking for weeks. Then, you use the AI Program Builder to structure your coaching program in a way that actually creates results. And after that, instead of random webinars, you use the AI Workshop Builder to create paid workshops that attract serious, high-quality clients. When it's time to sell, you don't jump on endless calls. You use the AI Offer Doc Builder to create a simple, high-converting sales document that you can send directly. Now for the content, you use the AI Message Map to know exactly what to say, how to say it, and how to guide people naturally. And when you start creating content, you use the AI Content Plan Creator to know what to post, when to post, and why it works. To generate leads faster, you use the AI Lead or Micro Magnet Builder to create quick wins that attract the right people into your world. When it comes to closing, I prefer opening better. You use the AI Spin Chat Closer. You can sell in DMs naturally, without pressure and without calls. And finally, you use the AI Content Analyst to see what's working, what's not, and how to improve your content over time. So instead of being stuck, confused, or overwhelmed, you move with clarity. What used to take months now can take weeks, maybe even days. And that's the real role of AI here. Not to replace you, but to accelerate your execution. Because at the end of the day, you still deliver the transformation. But now you build business around it faster than ever. Now, here is the part that most coaches completely miss. Even if you have the coaching flywheel, even if you understand all the steps, you can still get stuck. Why? Because at any moment, there is only one real problem in your business, one bottleneck. But most coaches do the opposite. They try to fix everything at once. They improve content, change their niche, rewrite their offer, test ads, start a new strategy, all in the same week. And the results? No progress, just motion. So instead of doing more, we do something very different. Every 6 weeks, we create a game plan. The goal is simple. Identify one bottleneck and eliminate it. Because your business is a system. And like any system, it only grows as fast as its weakest point. Let me give you examples. If you have no leads, then your bottleneck is ads or content. If you have leads but no conversations, then your bottleneck is engagement or messaging. If you have conversations but no calls, then your bottleneck is how you guide people. If you have calls but no clients, then your bottleneck is your offer or positioning. If you have clients but no results, then your bottleneck is your program. So instead of guessing, we diagnose. And then for the next 6 weeks, your focus only on that bottleneck. Not everything, not just different 5 things, just one thing. For example, if your bottleneck is conversations, your entire focus becomes starting more conversations, improving how you open, and testing different approaches. If your bottleneck is closing, you focus on better questions, better understanding, and better positioning. And here is what happens. In 6 weeks, you fix that bottleneck, and then we repeat. Next 6 weeks, new bottleneck, new focus, new growth. And this creates a very powerful effect. Instead of random effort, you get compounded progress. Because every 6 weeks, your business gets stronger. More leads, better conversations, higher conversion, and stronger results. And this is how you actually scale, not by doing more, but by fixing what matters most. So if you ever feel stuck, don't ask, what should I do? Ask, what is the one bottleneck right now? Fix that and everything else starts moving. So let's bring this all together. If you are starting from zero, you don't need a funnel, you don't need ads, you don't need a big audience, you need one thing. Conversations, calls, and clients. That's level 0. That's how you get your first results. Then, once you have clients, you don't stay stuck in hustle mode, you build a system, the coaching flywheel. Results, ads, leads, community, content, offer, clients, results again. A system where clients come to you, trust is built automatically, and your business grows every month. Then you execute it step by step. 6 levels, clear structure, no guessing. 4 weeks to build the foundation, 2 weeks to launch the system, and around 90 days to reach your first 10K months. And to make it faster and easier, because I don't like complicated things, you use the 9 AI tools to define your niche, build your program, create workshops, write your offer, guide conversations, plan content, generate leads, and close in DMs. One is missing. And improve what works. And every 6 weeks, you don't panic, you don't switch strategies, you create a game plan. You fix the bottleneck, you fix it, and you grow. That's it. Simple, but not easy. Because the truth is, most coaches don't fail because they lack information. They fail because they don't execute consistently. So if you want to do this the right way, if you want guidance, if you want to be surrounded by people who are actually building, join Business Dojo. Inside, you will get level 0 to get your first coaching clients, and then maybe you can upgrade to the coaching flywheel to scale. By the way, all 9 AI tools to move faster these are free, available, and a community that actually takes action. It's free to join, and it might be one decision that finally gets you momentum. So check the link below, and I will see you inside.